Welcome back to Well, That's Interesting, the talking about things stuck inside people edition.
Amazing. How can you not be like, what the fuck? Please tell me more.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about things inside people, but first, I'm with the amazing Marissa Riley.
Thank you. Yes, I am amazing. I woke up before noon, and
You did,
and that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Jill Chacha, and this is In-Betweeni 019. We have two stories today, and two stories about two different men, but they each share a similar problem. You could say they ended up with like a foreign object in their body, but like, but how and why those things got there, very different paths.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I love anything that has to do with butts.
We've got butts.
It sounds like butts are
We've
involved.
got butts.
Because they always are.
If something's stuck, there's got to be a butt.
Fuck yeah.
In-Betweeni 019, mushrooms grow inside man, different man has toothpick inside colon.
Amazing.
And that is the episode today.
I think that's the best title to anything, to any piece of text, art, literature.
This is art.
Yeah, this is art. And that title is art.
Should we begin?
We shall.
Let's do it. So we're going to begin with a case of self-medication that did not go according to plan.
Oh, no.
Just this week, on January 11th, the Journal of the Academy of Consultation Liaison Psychiatry, doesn't roll off the tongue, but that's hefty. It released a study detailing the experience of a man who injected a tea into his veins.
Oh.
And it wasn't a chai or an Earl Grey. In a boiling pot, he added different mushrooms that contained psilocybin, which is, you guessed it, what makes magic mushrooms magic-y. Our brains, specifically the hydroxytryptamine, I believe that's how you say it.
Sure.
Anyway, those receptors, they're called 5-HT receptors for short. They adore psilocybin.
Oh, no.
Yeah. When this compound is ingested and digested, it finds its way to our 5-HTs, and they don't let go.
So, I mean, injecting pretty much anything without a doctor's approval feels bad.
It feels like it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially tea, especially mushrooms.
Magic mushroom tea.
I'm very uncomfortable with this.
Yes.
But I have to know more.
What happens?
Yeah.
So, well, when the psilocybin and the 5-HTs get together, they're like fucking soulmates.
No.
Quote, the effect of the drug can begin 10 to 40 minutes after ingestion and lasts 2 to 6 hours depending on dose, species, and individual metabolism, end quote. That's from Wikipedia. There's over 200 species of fungus that have this compound, and the physical effects on the human body are just as varied and subjective. It runs the spectrum from nausea and vomiting to euphoria and relaxation. The perceptions of colors, sounds, and objects, and even time itself can feel altered. And how much you take, your surroundings, the current mental state you're in also affects your trip. So there's like a shit ton of variables at play here. And it can seem really chaotic.
Yeah.
But science is awesome.
Yeah.
And scientists are awesome.
They are.
And thanks to controlled studies, this compound has been found to really help people. Quote, an analysis of information from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health showed that the use of psychedelic drugs, such as psilocybin, is associated with significantly reduced odds of past-month psychological distress, past-year suicidal thinking, past-year suicidal planning, and past-year suicide attempt, end quote. And that's also from Wikipedia.
Well, shit, you're talking me into these freaking mushrooms.
Doing the drugs.
Sounds like it's helping with stuff. I don't know about the injecting part, though.
Keep that in mind. Additional cool news, repeated use of psilocybin does not lead to dependence, and tolerance does build, but it dissipates quickly. So that means you could like take your prescription without fear of addiction, and spacing out your intake several days apart keeps the prescription strength the same, basically. So,
amazing.
Yeah. All of this news is like all over the internets, and reading it convinced this man that this was the drug for him. Now, would you like to read from Ed Carr's report at gizmodo.com?
Yes, I would love to. Okay, quote, he had a history of bipolar disorder as well as opioid dependence, and he had recently stopped taking his prescribed medications. His family told doctors. In the course of trying to self-medicate his depression and dependence, he came across research showing some benefit from using psychedelic drugs like mushrooms and LSD. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still not into the injecting part.
Yes.
And the quitting all of your prescribed medications at one time. That's a big no. You should talk to someone a lot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did not seek any professional advice or any guidance on quantity or how to properly ingest these mushrooms.
Yeah.
Basically, he just put them in a pot, boiled them for a few minutes until the water got a little dark, and then used a syringe to inject the, air quotes, like tea.
Yeah, so it sounds like he YouTubed something and paired it with his own thoughts.
Yes.
And that can lead to some very bad things. But occasionally it can lead to getting stains out of clothes. When you pair YouTube videos with your own knowledge.
MacGyvering.
Yeah. But that's only cute when
when it's not going in your body.
When it's not going in your body through a needle.
No. Oh. Several days after making and injecting this liquid, he, quote, developed symptoms including lethargy, jaundice, diarrhea, nausea, along with vomiting up blood, end quote.
So that sounds like the opposite of what he was going for. So he wanted to feel better, and it looks like he felt about 6 or 7 times worse.
Yeah. Now, we can all imagine vomiting up blood. But jaundice is a medical condition with yellowing of the skin and white parts of your eyes. And according to the Mayo Clinic, quote, jaundice may occur if the liver can't efficiently process red blood cells as they break down, end quote. So basically, like, red blood cells are piling up and that pigment is getting into your skin and your eyes and shit. Yeah, it wasn't good. So, so turning yellow and puking up red blood and pooping out liquid poop means a trip to the ER, basically. And thankfully, he was admitted when he was, quote, by the time he was admitted to the hospital's intensive care unit, multiple organs had started to fail, including his lungs and kidney, end quote.
Well, that's a bad sign. Yeah,
terrible.
It's multiple bad signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that was reported from gizmodo.com. So what exactly happened to this guy? Well, there's a reason why we eat mushrooms and fungi and cultures. You see, the few blood tests that were done on him, it turns out his blood was infested with the same fungi, those same psychedelic mushrooms he was injecting.
Oh my God. Yes. So they're growing inside of him?
Yeah. His bloodstream wasn't acidic enough. Like, it wasn't an acidic...
It's a tough word.
His bloodstream wasn't an acidic enough environment to kill spores, quote, likely meaning that the mushrooms he injected were now literally feeding off him and growing. Yes, end
horrifying.
quote. So that's right.
Absolutely horrifying.
And I wrote this in all caps. He was plant food. That's why he was dying. They were eating him microscopically. Yeah. So
I mean, this is like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Times like 200.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
You're getting eaten alive from the inside out.
I wish this was a 5-part series on Netflix. I would watch the fuck out of that.
Oh man. Even the pooping and the puking?
I mean, I feel like they could artistically show that without showing it, you know?
More art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like tell, not show.
Yeah.
You know, for that part.
Artistic diarrhea.
Artistic diarrhea. You know, like a closed door. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll work on it.
And then him coming out and saying,
I had diarrhea.
I had diarrhea. No sound effects. just a closed door and then him saying, I have diarrhea.
It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
It's very exit stage right.
Right? I feel like throwing up blood, you can make that chic, like, women are always coughing up blood, and it's so adorable.
That happens at least once in every horror movie.
At least once. And they make it look really glamorize coughing up blood. Yeah. And I'm like, why am I not coughing? I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Am I not cute enough to cough up blood? What's going on? I'm kidding. Coughing up blood is a bad thing. Let's not glamorize it. Please call a doctor if that happens. But, this is a very interesting... terrible thing. The terrible thing. That last quote was from Gizmodo again. Moving on. 22 days of ICU treatment, antibiotics, and antifungal drugs. He thankfully survived his ordeal. But doctors noted he will have to be on antimicrobials for an extended period just to be certain. If a random spore or two are hiding away in his body, this could all start up again. I'm so embarrassed for him. Can you imagine, explaining that to a doctor and being like, look, I messed up. I really, I messed up.
There's a good news, though. There's good news. He's not the first person to do this. So.
Okay. So I think we have different definitions of good news.
Back in the wacky 80s, specifically 1985, another 30-year-old man had the same symptoms due to the same self-medicating methods, and it led to a similar medical treatment. But for the real good news, there's a lot of... Well, let's break it down.
Yeah.
The slow and steady battle to legalize drugs containing psilocybin, at least for medical use, is totally being won. A state at a time.
Nice.
You may have heard about a presidential election that happened last November. Let's not talk about it. On the ballot in Washington, D.C. was a measure to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms, and it passed. And Oregon became the first state to decriminalize the possession of all illicit drugs in small amounts, which is
that's right.
Huge.
Yeah.
It was Measure 110, and, quote, it passed with more than 58% of the vote. Possessing heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and other drugs for personal use is no longer a criminal offense in Oregon. These drugs are still against the law, as is selling them, but possession is now a civil, not criminal violation that may result in a fine or a court-ordered therapy, not jail.
Very interesting.
And that was from theconversation.com. You want to go over some numbers?
I love some numbers.
Let's go over some numbers.
I love me some drug numbers.
That's
drug
right.
math, personal favorite.
You came to the right place. So what does having drugs on you in a small amount? Well, I looked it up. So if you're in Oregon, according to the Oregonian, here are the limits. Quote, the measure makes it a non-criminal violation similar to a traffic ticket to possess the following: less than a gram of heroin and less than 5 pills of MDMA, less than 2 grams of methamphetamine or 40 units of LSD, or 12 grams of psilocybin. Less than 40 units of methadone, 40 pills of oxycodone, and less than 2 grams of cocaine, end quote. So if you're found with 41 pills,
you can just eat one.
Eat one pill in front of the cop.
Yep.
That's exactly, just do drugs in front of law enforcement.
There you go.
That's our advice for you today.
Yeah. We challenge you. We don't. Well, I'm so kidding.
No,
do not
do it.
Eat a pill in front of a police officer.
No, don't. Well, if you are found with 41 pills of oxycodone or 3 grams of coke, it'll only be a misdemeanor. There are no felonies, so you will not lose the right to vote simply because you have a drug on you. So that's great.
Yeah.
Something to celebrate. And after the break, we're going to celebrate the removal of a toothpick from someone's colon.
Oh my God.
Stay with us.
Please do.
Hello, everyone. You may recognize me as Gabby from the History of Everything podcast.
And my name is Brenna, and you don't recognize me from anything yet.
Together, we're 2 scientists who explore all of the weird little questions and conspiracies of the universe in our new podcast, Mystery of Everything. Everything has an explanation.
We hope.
That is what we're here to figure out. We will dive into the science behind many popular conspiracy theories, such as vaccines causing autism, flat earth theory? And was the moon landing fake? And if so, why the heck would anyone even do that?
But it's not just conspiracies. There's a lot of cool mysteries that we will attempt to use science to explain, such as near-death experiences, what made the Vikings go berserk, and can I control my co-host with MK Ultra?
Wait, what? Anyway, make sure to check out the Mystery of Everything podcast everywhere where you find your podcasts.
Hello everyone, Stakuyi here.
And I'm Gabby.
And we are the hosts of History of Everything, a podcast which you can probably guess by the name is, well, I mean, it's about everything. Do you want to know why people thought potatoes were evil and would give you syphilis? Are you curious about all the stories of the terrible and stupid ways that people have kicked the bucket over the years? Do you want to hear tales about all of the different badasses of history and the lives that they had brought to life? Well, if so, then look no further. History of Everything is just the right podcast for you. It's available on Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else that you get your podcast from. Join us for some fun and just see how weird and wacky history can be.
Hey everyone, Jill Chacha here from Well, That's Interesting, and I am absolutely thrilled to tell you about Spotify for podcasters. I use it, I love it, and it all started by downloading the free Spotify for Podcasters app, which has all the tools you need in one place to record and edit your masterpiece of a podcast. Spotify for Podcasters also distributes your show to all major platforms. So when you hit publish, your episodes will stream not only on Spotify, but I'm talking about the Apples, the Googles, Stitcher, Good Pods, the other ones. You get the idea. And you can monetize your podcast with no minimum listenership required. You could also set up monthly subscriptions and record ads just like this one. So what are you waiting for? Download Spotify for Podcasters today and start changing the world. Oh, and please, stay interesting. And we're back.
We're
back.
so back.
We're so back. And now we're going to head to Japan.
Hell yeah, we are.
That's right. Here, a 67-year-old man went to the doctor complaining of severe pain along the right side of his buttock and down his right thigh. It had gone on for 2 months until it reached a point where he knew he needed some help.
Yeah. I think I could get through maybe like 1 hour before I was like, I'm going to go get some help for my butt pain.
My butt pain. God. An MRI scan of his lower back revealed he might be suffering from something called stenosis, where like the spaces between your vertebra narrow, causing like pressure on the nerves there.
Oh, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, it results in numbing sensation or random painful pinches. And this wasn't exactly what the man was feeling, but the lower MRI revealed this narrowed space, and doctors were like, you know what, let's do some surgery and see what happens.
Okay.
And to prep for this for the surgery, a CT scan was performed. Lo and behold, in that CT scan, within the rectum was a 3-inch thin rod-like structure that was definitely not supposed to be there.
No. 3 inches.
3 inches in the colon. According to BMJ case reports, quote, it was ultimately determined to be an accidental ingestion of a toothpick, end quote. Shortly after this revelation, the pain in the man's leg became unbearable, and the doctors opted for immediate surgery, not on the vertebra, but to remove the goddamn toothpick.
Yeah.
This was 6 days after the scan, so thankfully it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
The report further states, quote, the pain disappeared thereafter, and the symptoms have not reoccurred since. The pain might have been localized to the right buttock and the posterior thigh in the early stages because the fine tip of the toothpick was positioned in the right of the anterior ramus of the S2 spinal nerve. Don't worry, I looked it up.
Okay.
End quote.
I'm following so closely. So that sounds like something hit the spine.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. I gave it a Google, and it's generally the space between like your tailbone and lower hip area. So it was like poking through his colon and into the nerves.
No. No.
From the butt.
From the butt.
That's right.
So much happens. You can control a lot from the butt.
Yes,
So, that's disgusting. Let's move on. Okay.
Now, this podcast wouldn't be this podcast if it didn't dig a little deeper into what got stuck into other people's butts.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. So let's take a journey. A journey between the years 1999 and 2009 at the Izmir Training and Research Hospital in Turkey.
Oh.
That's right. This is a global podcast.
Global, bitches.
That's right. There's no Class Europe podcast about stuff getting stuck in people's asses than this one. That's right. We travel the globe.
Yes, we're worldly ass people.
We're worldly on our... You said it perfectly. Why repeat it? Okay, so between those years, 1999 and 2009 at this place, 15 patients with foreign bodies in the rectum were diagnosed and treated. Now, would you like to read from a study titled, quote, Management of Rectal Foreign Bodies from the National Center for Biotechnology Information?
I would love to.
Okay.
All right, quote. This is amazing. The first part of this quote is, all patients were males. Their mean age was 48 years, range between 33 and 68 years. The objects in the rectum of these 15 patients were a body spray can, 4 patients, a bottle, 4 patients, a dildo, 2 patients, that one's understandable, an eggplant, 1 patient, a brush, 1 patient, a tea glass, 1 patient, very fancy, a ballpoint pen, 1 patient, and last but not least, I added that part, a wishbone, 1 patient after oral ingestion.
Yeah.
My end quote. Sorry, I added a few of my own little
That's okay.
nuances to that quote. I think you know which ones were my nuances, but all of those objects and patient numbers were real.
Yeah. I love that for the wishbone that they had to specifically say that it was
not
eaten.
it was not shoved up the butt.
Yeah, that it was part of a dinner maybe.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to note that we're not laughing at their plight, that we're laughing at just humanity in general and ourselves. This could be any one of us.
This could be any one of us. I respect the person who tried the eggplant. It's very of the time. Good for you for giving it a shot. I can see how you would, I don't know.
Yeah.
I get it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So where are we? Okay, so we're laughing also because you can't say, quote, removed transanally by anal dilation without laughing. It's impossible.
Can I try saying it really fast?
Okay.
Removed transanally by anal dilation. I don't know why it sounds like an alien movie. Anal dilation.
Anal dilation 2. You have to start with the sequel.
Anal dilation 2.
In a world.
In a world. Where eggplants.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
So 12 objects were removed by anal dilation, and others were removed by a laparotomy, which is a surgical incision in the abdomen.
Yay.
All patients survived.
Amazing.
They're all okay, maybe a little embarrassed. But luckily, that's the end of this episode. So.
Yes. I'm glad we're stopping right here. I feel like if we went any farther, it could get... shit could get real. Apologies for words go any farther and shit. So sorry.
That's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Please subscribe, rate, so other people can learn about how much drugs you can carry and what can get up people's butts.
Yeah.
So, and stay interesting.
Please do.